Welcome to Friday, October 20th, 2023, your day weather podcast being brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Check them out at cowboystatedaily.com and subscribe to their daily digital email newsletter. Hit the subscribe button at cowboystatedaily.com. More nice fall weather is on the way. Thanks, Sharon, for sending the beautiful photos of the leaves as we continue to have more nice fall weather. This nice fall weather is going to hang on through today and through the weekend. After that, well, things get really complicated, and we'll show you that here in a minute. So good weather through Sunday. Enjoy it. Pattern change next week is still on tap, but I tell you, nothing is remotely even more clear than what we talked yesterday. Very muddy outlook once we get beyond Monday and Tuesday of next week. There will be a system coming into the Pacific Northwest. It is going to spread some showers and clouds and cooler weather into the western side of the U.S. by early next week, but it won't be a major system. What will be interesting is the remains of Hurricane Norma off the coast of Mexico is going to bring rain to some areas of the central U.S. next week as moisture is drawn upwards into that area as that hurricane goes into Mexico this weekend. A stronger storm system arrives mid to late next week. And I say maybe because we continue to see huge differences in our long-range charts. I mean, they continue to be just all over the place. So there is a high probability of very changeable weather forecasts. I will warn you, do not believe a weather forecast that goes past 5 days because we could have a forecast that is still very warm like it is now, or one that's very cold and snowy depending on where you are and depending what really comes together. So we hope to have more clarity by Monday. So in the meantime, just sit back and enjoy the nice weather here through the weekend. Couple of features to point out on the satellite imagery this morning. Number one, the large area of clear skies and fair weather over the central and western United States. Wow, that's a lot of clear weather. So nothing to really worry about over the next several days. Here's Norma right here. And then back up here over the Aleutians, we have low pressure and stormy weather and strong jet stream winds developing over the North Pacific. And what's happening over the North Pacific and Northwest Canada and how these two areas interact with each other is causing the problems. And we'll see that here in a minute. So there's the high pressure. Here's Norma. This high pressure ridge will be overhead through Monday. So through the weekend, there will be showers in the Pacific Northwest and the Northwest Montana, a few light showers in eastern Nebraska, but boy, elsewhere there's just very little happening. So a nice weekend of weather, and this is all the way through Sunday. By Monday and Tuesday, some of that moisture will get a little further east. So here's Norma right now off the coast of southwest Mexico. What's going to happen over the weekend is it's going to curve northeast, and the remains of the tropical depression will head through central Mexico, and then it will dissipate. But the way the pattern is working, this is by Tuesday morning. Here's a low coming in. It's the same one coming out of the Pacific Northwest. It doesn't look like much, but there's a little ripple here. That's the remains of Norma, and it's going to be pulled to the north-northeast. So for you folks out into the central plains, areas of rain and thunderstorms will be developing by early to mid next week, and it could be a fairly good amount of rain over this area right here into the western areas of the Corn Belt, central eastern areas of Nebraska, Texas, Oklahoma, into Iowa here. This is basically what's left of Norma coming on up and bringing on through. This weather up here is the next approaching trough coming into the Pacific Northwest out of western Canada. But we continue to see huge discrepancies in the modeling for what happens after that time frame. We have this high up here in the Gulf of Alaska, but there's a low that wants to form over western Canada, and a low that I just showed you on the satellite imagery that is off the Aleutian coast now and is going to be tracking eastward. Where the computer models are having a very difficult time, and this actually happens fairly frequently, but we usually don't see this much disagreement. What a lot of the models want to do is join these two low pressure systems into one, cutting off the high pressure ridge, which then does not allow these storms to head this way. What will happen is if they merge, then the low will track more along the U.S.-Canadian border. It will lock up the cold air north of the border, and it really actually won't produce much weather south of the border if this solution takes place. This is what the European model is seeing. This is what the Canadian model is seeing. Kind of the same thing, but it has some separation but it keeps a strong low out here and it directs most of the weather up into Hudson Bay. This would lead to colder weather by late next week, but nothing extraordinary. Then if you look at the GFS, or the American model, well, it backs up this low here. They never come together. It keeps them separated. The ridge is stronger. This opens the door to much colder weather. If this solution pans out, we're talking rain, snow, and sharply colder temperatures coming into the northern and central Rockies, southern and western Canada, then eventually into the northern plains by Friday and the weekend. A real wintry pattern for a lot of the western and central United States. This is a colder pattern, some showers, not much going on. Well, this is a continuation of very mild weather through all of next week, so it is all over the board. So stay tuned. Hopefully by Monday we'll have a better idea what's going on. In the meantime, we've got 3-4 days here where you don't need to worry about the weather at all. Have yourself a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.